Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, twice in one day. Everyone is like, lucky. Twice in one day to have another Catalyst showcase and to see Sarah and I together.
Yay. So we were here this morning with lovely Safi, one of our lovely Catalyst members, and she was telling us all about her and what brought her to join the membership. And we are very excited to be joined this afternoon by another of our members, lovely Rupert. So I'm not going to say too much, going to bring Rupert on in a second and let her introduce herself. We're going to learn about her, we're going to learn about the work that she does, and we're going to learn about what brought her to join us at the Coaching Catalysts. So, are you ready? Let's bring Rupert on.
Hello.
Welcome, Rupert. Thanks so much for being with us today.
No worries.
So we'd love you, Rupert. We'd love you just to give us a little intro. Tell us a little bit about who you are, the work that you do.
Yep. So I'm Rupert. I've been in science education for about past 10 years now. I'm fully qualified science teacher and running RSA Discovery for about 4 years. And I provide science tutoring for ages 6 to 16 and enable biology up to 18 as well. I also provide consultancy and primary workshops for schools as well alongside that. So a range of services.
Amazing.
So exciting.
Really exciting.
So I guess it's really great because obviously you know that Sarah and I have a background in education, so it's always lovely to work with and be surrounded by other educators as well. What was it that made you step into business? I'm quite intrigued by that actually.
Yeah, so 4 years ago my son was born and I wanted that sort of balance between sort of home and work, and I found that having that self-employment meant that I was able to sort of have that sort of direction and control over my life. Because before I was in teaching sort of in schools, it's quite hectic and you're dictated to by the 9 to 3 and then after school is the marking and everything else. And so even if in London as well, there's still that sort of that train thing kind of linking to that when I was working in London in education businesses there. So I kind of wanted to amalgamate all those experiences together and produce something that's going to help students meaningfully, but also help me in a way that would give me that kind of lifestyle balance, which I think we're all trying to achieve.
100%. I think we all, when we listen to other people's stories, Sarah and I are always like, yeah, that was just us at that point in our lives. And it's just interesting to hear that other people have that need as well. And it's important to understand that we're not just alone in that desire.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think being part of this membership has meant that it's being part of a group of sort of like-minded women and just sort of, kind of working towards the idea of you don't have to be working yourself flat out and having that burnout process, which I think is the case for a lot of groups, a lot of mindset especially in the Western world. I think it's all about just sort of like working until you've burnt out and then resting for 2 weeks and restarting again, rather than thinking, how can I inbuild wellness alongside sort of building everything up at the same time and working too. So yeah.
Great, thank you. And thank you for sort of supporting and echoing, probably our most important message actually. How do we create success on our terms, but keep our health and relationships where we want them to be as well? It's we don't like to call it a balance because balance sounds precarious, but it's an interesting, let's say it's an interesting calibration always, isn't it, to achieve that?
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a thing which I think, and women especially, there's a lot of sort of juggling of balls, but particularly to school, for example, that started up recently for us. And that was a big shock into the system of the WhatsApp information overall and like messages from the emails as well and all that sort of stuff, trying to balance that alongside your work. it's quite a hard thing to do. And then you've got holidays alongside that to sort of continue your business alongside childcare is a thing which I think needs to be sort of addressed, I think, more so, because I think it's sort of put to the wayside a lot. Just sort of it will just kind of happen. You just have to sort of juggle it. But, you know, actually thinking through like a plan, or having a plan for the plan sometimes can actually be quite sort of helpful to sort of help you work out how to sort of do that alongside everything else.
Completely agree, and I think we've got a lot of work to do as a society in making this easier, rather than putting the responsibility onto us as individual women to somehow muddle through and somehow figure it out, because it's not easy. Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so how did you find out about the Coaching Catalysts in the first place? What brought you to us?
Yeah, so I was kind of following Rebecca from her previous business with tutoring, and I saw that she was sort of setting up Coaching Catalyst, and I saw some testimonial interviews just like this on Facebook, and I thought this looks actually quite good compared to other sort of groups that I've been part of. They've all been focused on sort of just on the business rather than thinking about holistically like how you can sort of grow whilst everything else alongside it. So seeing that video, following Rebecca, kind of encouraged me to sort of join and sort of be part of sort of this community overall.
Okay, that's great to know. Thank you. So again, that messaging about that balance, prioritizing our well-being, thriving in all areas was something that really resonated with you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
It really helps us, doesn't it, to know what it is in terms of the language that draws people to us, because then that's what we want to keep repeating so that we can attract more wonderful people like yourself, right? Like, we love the work you do, encouraging girls into STEM and the consultancy element, and just doing all the little bits of the things that you love, whilst also being there for your children, or your child, giving you more children there than you have at the moment, but for your family and for yourself as well. So that's really important, especially with the job that we do. So you came into the world of the Catalysts and you immersed yourself in sharing, which I love. I love you sharing and asking for support. And that's one of the beauties of the membership, is having the viewpoint and opinions of other people as well. What would you say is one thing, and if you can't choose one, don't worry, but what can you say is one thing that you love the most about being in the membership?
I think all of the training, which is almost like a menu option, so you can then decide when or where or how to sort of access it. I think having that sort of choice means that you don't feel pressured to sort of do everything, which is obviously whenever you're going to, for example, if you're going on holiday, for example, you have all these options like, oh, you could do this, you could do that. It's kind of like the menu was sort of there. Like, if you wish to do it, you can, you know, if you can't, that's okay as well. Sort of having that sort of, you know, potential to go back to it just means you just feel less guilty that you sort of like invested in something like a gym membership almost, isn't it? Kind of investing in it and just thinking, you know, can't go back to that overall. Whereas in this, you can. And like when, for example, my brother's ready to do a speech in front of like lots of people, like being a teacher, I was like, oh, this should be okay. But I watched Sarah's mindset training on Saturday night, because as always, being a mum, just have no time. I think it was on public speaking, one of the first ones I watched. And that was so useful, because it helped me to sort of plan out my speech. I had like cards, I was looking in the mirror, I was recording myself and just following like literally everything she was saying. So that kind of examples and sort of shows that the whole, you know, that sort of training aspect for me has been sort of the best part.
Brilliant, thank you. And it's again really great to hear, because we had that question from a new member this morning about when the trainings took place and could you, you know, can you sort of catch up? And the answer is yes. Other than the live coaching, everything is uploaded to the members platform. So it's great to hear. And yeah, we both smiled when you said that you're catching up on the training of Saturday night, because we both totally
not always, I'm not going to say that. That was a very rare opportunity. Like, kind of like Monday was the wedding, so that was like a last minute sort of thing. But yes, you can, that sort of thing can be done. Yeah.
Brilliant. So it's good to know that those resources are there as and when you need them, that there's plenty of choice, and you can use what you want according to what needs that you have at the time. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good. Okay. And so we have, in the short time, actually, you've only been with us for a fairly short time, haven't you? In the short time that you have been with us, what would you say is the most significant sort of progress that you've made while you've been involved in our community?
So I would say the biggest thing is kind of the videos. So looking at something, for example, today, looking back in, say, March, April time, I wouldn't be able to do this kind of thing, I don't reckon. So having that sort of bravery and kind of getting over the fear of looking in a camera and kind of telling people what I want, sort of in terms of my business and what I'm passionate about, that would be the biggest win. And then also just learning about what a win is. Because I think in teaching especially, we just sort of focus on just sort of end of the week and think, oh my gosh, next week I've got to do all this sort of stuff. Whereas like, what does a win actually mean? And how do we actually celebrate that? That in itself has been a win, I think. So sort of changing my mindset around it. And then also just kind of admin wise for my tutoring side of things, Rebecca in particular helped me with the contracts and sort of had to negotiate sort of things as well. So, and this term since September has been so easy actually, because all the sort of stuff I put in place has been done from the past couple of months of joining. So yeah, and yeah, sort of health wise as well, all good too. So it's all the different things which I wanted when I first started to join has been sort of met, because I think there was a fear for me that if I grew the business, I wouldn't be able to do other aspects as well. So the fact that I've been able to do that alongside everything else has just sort of proven that this has been really sort of helpful, really. So yeah.
Amazing. Thanks, Rupa. It's really great to hear that. So that, first of all, that's finding your brave. And we get that question from so many women, whether they're in careers or in business. How do I increase my confidence? How do I raise my visibility? And that's exactly what you're talking about. It doesn't have to be via video, but using those techniques has allowed you to do that. Secondly, the mindset work, like recognizing what's going on and actually celebrating. You're right, it's so important, and we so often neglect that area. And then the practical stuff around how do I do contracting, Rebecca's kind of practical advice in regard to the business as well. So it's really great to sort of reiterate those sort of 3 really sort of tangible things that you've got out of being in the membership so far. So thank you for sharing those.
No, thank you.
What I love the most is that you said about learning how to celebrate a win.
Yeah.
Like, because somebody else mentioned it the other day, we were in group coaching and I said, how are you going to celebrate your win? And they said, oh, I don't know. I need to think about that. And it's not easy. Right. But to sit there and think, how are we going to celebrate and reward ourselves for X, Y, and Z? So yeah, I really do love the fact that you said that, because it's all learning and we have to train ourselves to be able to do it comfortably. So well done.
That training is like not there, is it, if you think about it, in terms of any kind of career you go into. Teaching, for example, is sort of like, how can we improve the next lesson? How can we improve the next learning what we used to do in schools, right? So it's not always like, hey, let's just sit back and sort of like celebrate the wins. That's not sort of embedded even beyond teaching as well. So I think having that culture of that, just it may even sort of help people's sort of mental well-being as well. Mental well-being affects health too. So there's a knock-on effect, I reckon, if that kind of way of thinking. And in terms of my students, I also try to incorporate that within, especially the past 2 years, which have been interesting in terms of teaching for exams and everything else. I have actually used some of those techniques, particularly this year when I've joined with the current students. And they've benefited from actually having like, hey, what can you celebrate from this week apart from X, Y, and Z from school? So I think having that from a young age is also really helpful too.
That's one of the reasons why we love coaching, Sarah, isn't it? The ripple effect, like by us sharing that with you, you can then share it with somebody else and they can then share it. And it's some powerful stuff. So I guess one of the things that's probably important for us is to encourage other people to take that risk, right? It's a risk investing in things. It's a good risk, but it's always a risk. A risk in time, a risk in finance, a risk in energy. What would you say to somebody who's considering stepping into the Catalyst world, that's possibly thinking, oh, I'm not too sure if it's right for me? What would you say to them?
I would say with anything, just give it a go. You can always leave without having to sort of explain yourself, which is what you guys say on your website as well, which is kind of different to, like, example, gym membership. You have to sign up for X number of months or whatever. And often the kind of money you might spend on the membership right now, you probably just spend without thinking on like a takeaway or something similar to that per month anyway. So you may as well just trial it, sort of budget it for in the first couple of months and then just see how it goes. As of anything, just once you get in membership, just go straight in, dive in, trial out the group coaching, trial out the Friday win, sort of one-to-one thing if you win that as well. Accountability, like for example, Sam Davies is my accountability partner, and she's just amazing. Like with her English class with Sam business, it's so great to be with another teacher and sort of discuss that as well. So yeah, that's kind of the advice I would sort of give to someone who's kind of on the fence with investing with you guys. Just give it a go, and you can always come out if you want to.
Love that, Rupa. Thank you. So give it a go, get stuck in. But it's great to hear again the really sort of tangible benefits that you found as being part of the membership. So again, thank you for that. And what about for you in your business? Have you got anything coming up that you want to talk about or share?
So currently I'm part of the Lightyear Foundation. I'm the virtual lab lead at the moment. I've just been appointed that a couple of weeks ago, actually, so that's quite exciting. So I'll be learning as part of that how to encourage more sort of disabled students into STEM. They've actually got a crowdfunder happening right now at the moment, I think. So if anyone wants to be part of that, they can go to my website, my Facebook page, and have a look at that link as well. And yeah, alongside that, I'm still sort of tutoring, kind of promoting sort of more girls into science as well. And if there are sort of any kind of primary schools that would like a scientist to come into their school, I'm kind of looking at doing that after the half term. And my son's in school now, and he's sort of settled. I have the sort of capacity to do some sort of sessions during the day. So that's kind of where I'm sort of looking to sort of head to more sort of, now that COVID is slightly less than it was, to kind of promote the more face-to-face work within primary schools. And then to sort of aim of actually getting more girls into science, really.
Brilliant, Rupert. Absolutely love your mission. It's so important. And remind us where you're based again.
So I'm based in Kent.
In Kent. So anybody in the Kent area, get in touch with Rupert if you have got children in primary school, or if you're a primary school teacher and you want to find out more about Rupert's amazing workshops. She's super inspiring. That's wonderful.
Cool. Thank you.
So thank you, Rupa, for your time. Thank you for everything. And we look forward to continuing to see the growth that you embark on in the membership. And yeah, outside of that as well, in your personal life too.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Rupa. Okay, so as you may be aware, doors to the Coaching Catalyst membership are currently open. So if you are a female professional or an entrepreneur and you want to achieve your career goals or your business goals, but you want to make sure that you prioritize your health and your relationships so that you can really thrive in all areas, then this is the community for you. Doors are open now. All you have to do is go to bit.ly/join the Catalysts. Doors are open now until Thursday, the 20th of October at 11 a.m. Any questions you've got about joining the membership, let us know. The investment is £47 per month, which, as Rupa was saying, when you could easily fritter that away in the course of a month on takeaway or your daily coffee. So the investment really does give you so much benefit in terms of access to coaching, training, an amazing, amazing community of women. And another question we had actually this morning was about the size of our membership. We're still fairly small. We're still under 50 members. So this is a really good time to join us, because it's not like joining a community where there are thousands of people and you kind of get lost. When you come and join us, we know who you are, we know where you're at, we know what your obstacles are, and we can work with you in a way that we couldn't do if we had a much, much bigger community. So I think that's something very special to mention about the Catalysts.
So doors are opening now. They are closing on Thursday, as Sarah has said, and they won't necessarily reopen until about February, March time. Again, Sarah is right in the sense that it's a smaller community. We've got under 50, so about 40 members. But what is really, really important for us is to support them for that quarter in their journey to help set them up for the rest of the year. So if you are interested, feel free to drop us a message. I can see that there's a comment coming in. Where's that comment come from? It looks like it's lost now. Got it there? Anyway, put me off there for a second. Feel free to join us. So we have group coaching once a month from Sarah and I. We have mindset training. We have business training. We have co-working and brainstorming. We also have a guest expert speaker, because Sarah and I don't proclaim to know everything. So we always make sure that we can procure somebody who can support you in whatever you're looking for. It's open for professionals and entrepreneurs, so please don't be put off. If you see a lot of people that own businesses here, we do have a lot of professionals, but clearly they are in work at the moment. So I think that's it for now from us.
That is us, bang on 20 minutes. Thank you so much for joining. If you're watching later on replay, let us know what your takeaway is or any questions that you've got. Thanks, everyone. Bye.